Hey cousins, happy Tuesday. I hope you all had a great weekend. I was over in Las Vegas watching Power Slap. You know that messy UFC sport where they literally slap the hell out of each other? Well, shout out to Dana White and the Power Slap team for inviting me. And just watch this clip really quick. Insane. That was my genuine reaction. Like, I literally was mind blown just by how insane that sport is. I'm still trying to figure out how you even train for that. Anyways, again, thank you Dana White and Power Slap for having me. And you know I was extra and I wore my Free Our Hostages hoodie to the event. Yes, I did. And also to the club. And two musty brothers whom I shall not name were so mad to see it. Anyways, there is so much to debrief from the news this weekend, starting with a lot of controversy surrounding the pending deportation of a musty terrorist sympathizer, as well as my 2 cents on LeBron James yelling at Stephen A. Smith to avenge his Nepo baby without Nepo talent son. Whoopi Goofy Goldberg at this point says something ignorant again. A Disney princess has some baby daddy drama, and this upcoming Nicki Minaj wannabe Doechii is afraid of straight men. If she weren't so talented, she would have been the goofy of the day. But at this rate, her time may come very, very soon. Anyways, child, let's get into it. Y'all know the vibes. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Welcome to Respectfully. So let's get right into this whole situation about this student from Colombia. So I was a little late on this to find out. I found out right before the show. So I did this deep dive on who this guy is and trying to figure out what his whole MO is and why exactly is he getting deported. So this guy, his name is Mahmoud Khalil. Probably saying that wrong, but I tried my best, yeah. Mahmoud Khalil, he is a Palestinian grad student over at Columbia University, and he was studying international and public affairs and completed his master's degree back in December 2024. So on March 9th, 2025, so just 2 days ago, ICE arrested him. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this situation is interesting. So first of all, he was a legal permanent resident here with a green card, and he is still being removed, even though are being deported, I should say, without criminal charges. And that's sparking a lot of outrage about what this has to do when it comes to free speech and immigration policy. Now, the reason this guy is controversial is he is a prominent leader over at Columbia University for the Apartheid Divest group. They were the musty group that was leading the encampments over at Columbia. You guys know the story how I went to UCLA and helped destroy some of their encampments by infiltrating. Well, over at Columbia, the encampments were arguably a lot worse. They went on for much longer and were a lot mustier, a lot more chaotic. And this guy was truly one of the leaders over there making all of this happen. Now, he's also married to a U.S. citizen who is 8 months pregnant. So the situation is really sticky no matter what way you look at it. But President Trump labeled this guy Khalil, a radical foreign pro-Hamas student on social media, and vows that this is the first arrest of many under a crackdown on these pro-Palestinian campus activists. Now, y'all know me. I'm for it. I'm for it, but I have my hesitations all at the same time. Because, the official justification for this is essentially the Department of Homeland Security is utilizing the executive order that just got put in place against anti-Semitism, something that was very needed because over the last few years, the anti-Semitism that we've seen in our country has been completely out of control. It has went unchecked under, the last administration. In my opinion, I feel like anti-Semitism was just allowed to run wild. So now saying that Khalil's activism is a threat against or is adverse foreign policy, I get it. Because if you're looking technically at everything he's saying, everything that he's standing for, what they were doing on the college campuses, it was against the better interests of America. And with this student being an immigrant, it's a sticky situation. He was leading a lot of the riots. He was leading these riots that led to trashing of some of our nation's greatest universities. And allegedly, he was wearing pro-Hamas merch. I say anything that's pro-Palestinian in the sense of attacking Israel, you can classify as pro-Hamas, but from what I have seen in some of these images that I can't fully confirm are him, it looks like he's literally supporting Hamas with some of the imagery that is on some of the clothing that I've seen him wearing, if those pictures were actually him. And I've even seen a video where people are again saying that it's him, but it's alleged because you can't see his face clearly in the video, where they're calling to literally behead Jews. So this is the kind of behavior that is out of control, and something that I, again, understand why he's being deported. This is also after the new administration has canceled $400 million in federal funding to Colombia because of the fact that they have allowed anti-Semitism to go unchecked for so long. Now, the effort to deport him ended up getting stopped because Khalil's lawyers filed saying that he was not able, I'm trying to say this, habeas corpus, I think that you say it, habeas corpus petition, arguing that his detention violates free speech and due process. Now, me just trying to be objective, again, I understand that because I am very pro people being able to protest. And even if I disagree with you, as long as you are not doing something that's violent, I'm in favor of your First Amendment right to protest. But that being said, these protests got out of control. What was happening on the university campuses was out of control. There's a big difference between free speech and destroying campuses and destroying the lives of some of these Jewish students and harassing them, heckling them, doing all these just horrible activities that made Jewish students around the country feel wildly uncomfortable and threatened legitimately. That's not free speech. That is actually just illegal behavior, no matter what way you're looking at it. So it is very, very tricky. I'm interested to see as more details come out as this court case is going to flesh out. And there's people that are calling this authoritarian. You know, sometimes you need a little bit of authority. I'm America first, period. So when it comes to somebody that's here leading riots and protests that are against the better interests of Americans, I'm in favor of booting you out of our country. You know, being an immigrant here is a privilege. It's not a right. You don't have the right to be here. And even with him having his green card, your green card is questionably going to get revoked when you start supporting terrorists. And I think that this is going to set, and I'm so mixed on it because I think it sets a good precedent that if you were out here supporting terrorism and supporting the harm of Jewish students, then you gotta go. You gotta get kicked out of our country. We have enough musty people here that we're dealing with in our own situation. And, you know, I am very pro mass deportation when it comes to getting musty terrorists out, or anybody that's related to a cartel or a terrorist group or anything of that sense out of our country. But at the same time, it is a little dangerous because it's like, this is someone who technically, to my knowledge so far, has not broken a law. But I'm very interested to see more facts and details of the situation. You guys can send them in. Put the links in the YouTube comment section. Let me know if there's something that I haven't seen yet. Because again, I just learned about this situation this morning. But I do think it is a sticky situation. But you certainly won't see me out there demanding justice for this man, because I am very in favor of kicking a lot more people out of this country. But that's just my opinion. Go terrorize your own country. Go bring that hate to your side of the side of the world. Actually, I shouldn't even say that because it's already there. We already know what's going on in Syria. The students from Syria, and we already know it's a hot mess over there. Don't bring your ghetto here. Do not bring your ghetto here. That is not what we're about to deal with. So we'll see. I'm going to keep tabs on the situation, keep you guys updated, but let me know what you guys think. Very curious if you think it's justified to deport this guy. Moving along, I want to talk about LeBron James, because who is this diva? I can't stand LeBron James for so many reasons. Look at this. Academy Award winning actress. Look at him. LeBron flopped James. Who hit you? Who shot you? Who shot you, LeBron? LeBron James, known for flopping his entire career. Yes, he is one of the greatest of all time, but the thing that's disgusting is that he always takes an opportunity to remind you of that. You know, when you're really the GOAT, like Michael Jordan, you don't have to constantly tell people that you're the greatest of all time. The only time that you should have to do that is when people are constantly discrediting you. And even the biggest critics of LeBron James give him his flowers, but he still complains and cries all the time that he's not getting enough props. But now he's also complaining that his son isn't getting enough props. So Before we even go there, if you guys know Stephen A. Smith, he is a sports commentator. He's been in the game for a very, very long time. And, you know, he says some pretty base things sometimes. I like the way he thinks. I disagree with some of his takes. Some of his takes just take it way too far. But in general, I respect his takes. And when it comes to basketball, he definitely knows the game. And he is always keeping his foot on Bronny James's neck. Bronny James is LeBron James's son that is now in the NBA with him. And there is a lot of shade that goes towards Bronny James, and for good reason. You know, he's not that good at basketball, but he is basically a Nepo baby in the NBA without the Nepo talent. Okay, you can't inherit all the talent. And obviously he's an above average basketball player, but when it comes to the NBA, I really don't think he would still be in the NBA if it wasn't for his last name. You know, I was looking up some of the stats regarding Bronny James. He has under 5-minute gameplay average, and they basically do that just for the press. They basically just do that for how iconic it is to have a son and a father, particularly LeBron James, who is such a diva, to have them on the court together. He barely averages a point per game. His 3-point average is like 20%, and that's less than Dave Rubin's. Please, okay? Dave Rubin, yes, the political commentator Dave Rubin, he probably has a better 3-point average than Bronny James at this point. He can't rebound. He can't assist. He's a great bench warmer, and you know, at the end of the day, everybody has to have a role. But I give him an A for effort because somebody has to do it. Somebody has to keep the bench warm. And it is cool to see this father-son history be made, but Bronny James is just not that good at basketball. He's certainly in the shadow of LeBron James. So this whole thing of people trying to fight for Bronny to get all this respect in the industry, for what? Okay, for what? He still has time to prove his worthiness to be in the NBA, but if it weren't for his last name, he would have already been cut. No shade. But all that to say, LeBron James went viral over the weekend because he confronted Stephen A. Smith at a basketball game. So let's see the clip. So you can't fully tell what he's saying, but you know, if you look at all the internet mouth readers, all the lip readers of the world, they are very good at telling what it is that he's saying. And according also to some people who are a little closer to the conversation, they basically said that LeBron told him to keep my son out of your mouth and some more colorful language. He told him to stop talking about Bronny James. Now, out of being, okay, objective and trying to be fair, from the perspective of a father, I can only, and I'm not a father, at least not yet, but if I were a father, I would want to stand on business for my son too. I would want to take an opportunity to go hand you the business if you're constantly criticizing my son, because I did look it up. Stephen A. Smith does read Bronny for filth all the time, but he's not a good athlete. If you are not good at your job, then people are going to tell you that you're not good at your job, because Lord knows when I have a bad video, y'all tell me, and I don't see my father coming in the comment section arguing with y'all. And even some of my biggest fans will eat me up. That's why I call you my cousins, because it's a safe space for criticism. We can argue at the table. I might clap back, but we can all still be family, okay? But that being said, LeBron James, you got to be so for real. Your son is a pro athlete. And if this were a normal job, you would not go in and yell at the people that are criticizing your son at his job. You would not go into any other workspace and say, you're not allowed to talk about my child. And if you did, you would end up in jail. Okay, so for you to get all up in Stephen A. Smith's face, that was just doing too much, in my humble opinion. Because you can't pass on your talent through DNA. And that's all Stephen Smith is trying to say. So LeBron James, the diva, the actress, you and your perpetual victim mentality, it's tired. We are tired of you playing the victim. You play the victim on the court. You're always talking about how you need more racial justice. Aren't you a billionaire? If you are a billionaire, you can only complain so much. Okay, you are a billionaire from being good at dribbling a ball. And I'm not saying that to discredit your success at all, because then you could argue, well, I'm making a living just talking crap on the internet about you. And you know what? I am. And I'm going to get this bag. And if my son, my future son, tries to get on this mic and he can't speak the truth in the way that I do, then I'm going to tell him, go to law school, because you still need to make that coin some way. And I'm going to make sure I give them some nepotism there too. But if my son goes to law school and he can't win a case, then we're back to the drawing board. And for Bronny, that might be what he needs to do. Maybe he can get like an investment deal or something. You know, a lot of these people who fail at being a musician, like a Cardi B, for example, they just go and become influencers. Go be an influencer, Bronny James. Keep trying. You're young in your career. Let me not be a hater too much. But you need to check your dad. You need to check your dad. Moving along to our goofy of the day, Whoopi Goldberg. I honestly think that Whoopi Goldberg is breaking the record for the amount of bad takes that she has had. This woman, she is such a great actress, but every time she gets on TV over on The View, I feel like she just says something just less and less intelligent. I feel like my brain fries when I listen to Whoopi Goldberg try to give a hot take. Like, she is just so Now, y'all know y'all are shady for picking out that picture, but you know, it shows her, you know, and the thing is there are very few conversations that require you to be looking at the camera like, come on. Because she's probably talking about the weather. That's the crazy part. And saying that the weather is being racist to the Native American people or something. But let's see why Whoopi Goldberg is our goofy of the day. The first of probably many times.
Last week, California Governor Gavin Newsom said that he thinks that trans athletes competing in girls' and women's sports was deeply unfair. Part of the problem that the trans community is facing, and it's the same problem that women face, is if you don't know anything about our bodies, you don't know how it works. So when you come in and you say, oh, you know, these are men, you know.
Can we pause real quick? First of all, Whoopi is sitting here talking about how men shouldn't be able to comment, or that people who are, he's saying that men shouldn't be able to comment about trans women being in women's sports because we don't understand how their bodies work. Then how does a trans woman? If a trans woman is just more often than not a man in a Party City wig with pumped up estrogen, that does not mean that they know how a woman's body works. And you're saying this because what she's about to say is some BS too, so I'm gonna let her cook on that. But let's just acknowledge that first. And Dylan Mulvaney is sitting there right there gagged the whole time. Dylan Mulvaney, I was low-key laughing the whole time watching the full segment of this, because every time they're talking about biological men, Dylan Mulvaney's sitting there like all nervous because it applies to you too, bro. Oh, I can't say that. Oh, because they'll really demonetize you if you say too much about Dylan. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant her. Sorry, YouTube. Don't take my bag. But Dylan Mulvaney, I hope you have a nice day. Let me keep my bag. Whoopi Goldberg, continue, please.
Against women, you're assuming that the women are weak and just can't do anything except right here. Have you seen?
I'm sorry. Pause again. Literally, was that not Dylan Mulvaney's whole shtick? Like, I will never forgive myself as well as everybody else on the right for how popular we made Dylan by talking so much about it. But it's like, at the same time, you had to be there. Seeing those videos for the first time was wild. Dylan being in the forest being like, oh no, like I'm just a girl. Oh no, a dragonfly. And then falls over on the floor. Like, that was the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen. That was the most misogynistic series I've ever seen. I really hope that Dylan does not do that series anymore, because that was wild. But this whole thing of, oh no, women are so weak, and that's what Whoopi Goldberg is doing, trying to mock biological men. You are mocking the trans woman right in front of you. Like, oh, this woman is so goofy. This is like 10 bad takes in one. And I hate that haircut. I hate this haircut on Whoopi Goldberg. Bald headed on the sides with some tired bust down braids that are dry. Them dry braids. I just called them ugly. Let's keep going.
Female athletes, they know what they're doing. So I'm not sure what's going on or why this is an issue.
So the overall point that landed Whoopi as the goofy of the day is sitting here acting like biological men and people outside of the trans community are inferring that women are weak, and that's why we don't want men in women's sports. That's not the case at all. Every single person that you will ever hear talk about why men need to not be in women's sports actually is empowering women and talking about how women work so hard to be high-level athletes. They work so hard to get in the spaces that they're in, and now they are having a person with an unfair advantage going up against them, somebody that, and do I even have to say all the differences between biological men and women when it comes to lung capacity, wingspan, like bone density, all these different things, height, weight on an average level? Yes, there are some women that are absolute Amazons. Y'all know I love pro wrestling. I went to an AEW show this weekend, but if you look at WWE, you look at Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, these tall, strong women. Nobody is saying that women are weak. What we are saying is that women are strong and they compete so hard and work so hard to be in the spaces that they're in. Why do you have grown men shaving their beards, putting on a Party City wig, and thinking that it's fair to be up against them? So nobody ever said that women are weak and that's why they can't go against trans women. It's just ridiculous. Like, I can't believe this is still a conversation, and hopefully by the end of the next 4 years, it won't be a conversation anymore. Like, let's be so for real. And it's funny to me, when you really think about it, you squint and you think about it, you hear trans women fighting all the time to be in biological women's sports. Why do you never see trans men fighting to be in men's sports? Oh yeah, because even with all that testosterone, more often than not, you're smaller, you're weaker, and you're definitely more emotional. All tea, all shade, and all offense on that. So you're never going to see this movement of trans men saying that we want to be in men's sports. For obvious common sense reasons. And I do want to say too, as Whoopi sits here and talks about this, I really can't stand this ongoing narrative. When we talked about this last week too, how a lot of Black people try to create this, woke Black people try to create this intersectionality with all of our issues. But then in the same breath, Black people talk about being the least protected and the first in line of fire. And I will say there's an argument to be made there. When it comes to these social issues, a lot of the times, Black people do end up being the first in the line of fire. And you know why I know that's the truth? Is because every time these movements start to lose momentum and start to get weak, what do? They go and they make this a Black person's issue. When it was the Free Palestine stuff, the LGBT stuff, I was saying last week, stop putting us in everybody's flag because we are always the first in the line of fire. So I understand that there's some crossover sometimes in the intersectionality, not me saying intersex, but stop putting us in everybody's business. Can Black people have our business to ourselves sometime? It's getting tired. It's getting real tired. There are certain groups that I think have a right to be like, this is really a Black person's issue too, but it's certainly not when it comes to men being in women's sports or in their locker rooms. Shout out to Black women, because I feel like Black women are going to be amongst the first to really put an end to this too. When they start waking up and start getting more bold and unapologetic. There's a woman over in London who owns a gym that I really want to give her flowers. It's called the Girl Spot in London. It's a biological women's gym. And she made headlines back in 2021 because people were giving her flack for allowing trans women in her biological women's only gym. But then after some years of research, years of education, years of opening her eyes to common sense, like I have been saying, it's only a matter of time before Black women start doing more. This is the end result. Let's play the clip.
The Girl Spot Gym exists as a safe space for women because women are facing gym harassment, sexual assault and sexual violence inside of gyms. And I know that because I'm a victim of it. That whilst we are a gym, inside we are focusing on self-defense classes, Muay Thai, boxing classes, as well as workshops and activations around PCOS and training on your menstrual cycle, all of which occur to biological women. Majority of the women who are seeking my women's only gym, the Girl Spot, are coming here because they have faced some level of gym intimidation or sexual violence and assault that has been perpetrated by men. So as the owner of the gym, it is very important to make it clear how my women's only gym will be operating, and it will be operating as a single-sex space for biological women. Now, we do believe that everybody deserves a safe space, and there are many gyms that are starting to have mixed cubicles and changing rooms so that individuals can feel safer and more included in these environments. But the Girl Spot Gym as a standalone is a female-only gym because it is imperative that I stick to the vision and the mission and ensure that these women feel safe.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to black women. Shut it down, sis. As somebody who back in 2020, and don't y'all mock me about this earpiece, child. As somebody back in 2020 who again was on the wrong side of history and had a big awakening, I respect this so much. The fact that this woman has finally been like, you know what? If you're going to really be a girl's girl, you need to protect women's spaces and the sacredity of women's spaces. They deserve their own gyms. If you're going to have a women's only gym, you should not have somebody who just put on a wig and is changing their identity be able to violate that space, because women need to have their own spaces. And people should respect that. And there was a lot of people debating this online, but overall, a lot of people supported it. And you know, black women, considering they have the intersectionality of being a woman and being black, you know, two oppressed groups when it comes to that, someone like her speaking out is going to move mountains, because then people are going to look at this and be like, okay, let me hear it out. Let me hear it out a little more, because let a white man go and say the same thing and it's going to be World War III up in here. So I'm very, very proud of this gym owner. Again, shout out to my followers out in the UK. If you are out in the UK, make sure you stop at the girl spot if you are a woman and if you are a woman only. This whole thing about inclusivity, that should only go so far. It's okay for you to be excluded sometimes. It is okay. Not every space is meant for you. And that's okay. When we talk about inclusivity, I think it's cool when someone like Rihanna, shout out to Rihanna, when she launched Fenty Beauty and had 1,000 different shades of makeup. That's cool. Shout out to all the girls now who have a proper shade of makeup to actually go with their shade if they're darker complected. But when we talk about inclusivity, that does not mean somebody with dangling testicles is about to go up in a women's locker room. That's not going to happen anymore. Shut it down, because it's really not about to happen at the girl spot. Shout out to her. Let's move along. Now, Doechii. Are you guys familiar with Doechii yet? If you're not, you're going to be seeing her 24/7 pretty soon. Doechii is this new female rapper. She's been out for a while. She's been working at this since 2015 is my knowledge. And she is really talented. But Doechii, she's getting the industry plant allegations. We'll talk about that in a minute. But when it comes to Doechii, first of all, when it comes to female rap in general, I can't emphasize this enough. When it comes to female rap, there is such a difference in talent. When we talk about the median of female rap, it is Nicki and everybody else.
Nicki Minaj.
Oh, what is that sound, Mr. Rodriguez?
I thought you liked that one.
He knows I don't play about Nicki. I love Nicki Minaj because Nicki Minaj is so based, first of all. But again, the reason I love her, or one of the many reasons I love her so much, is that she actually is so anti-corrupt establishments. We're going to leave that there because this is a conversation about Doechii. Doechii is a wannabe Nicki Minaj. She's also a wannabe Doja Cat, a wannabe Brie Runway. She's a wannabe Azalea Banks. She's a wannabe of Rico Nasty. Almost every female rapper that's out there, she emulates their style in different songs. So I'm still waiting for her to really come with her own style, because I do think she's talented. And I want to start with, I am not a Doechii hater. I actually like a lot of her songs, and I think she has a lot of potential. But that being said, she's about to piss me off. Doechii is about to irritate my soul if she keeps doing stuff like this. She just went on Hot Ones, you know, that where they eat the wings and they do these interview questions. Look what this woman had to say.
What's my biggest dating red flag?
Is it being on the DL?
You're on the right track. I have my answer.
Is it close enough?
You want to guess one more time what would be a red flag for me?
Bad music taste?
Oh, that is a good one.
Because that's one for me.
That is a good one.
Like,
but that's
what
not
do you
what
mean
I put.
you don't listen to Michael Jackson? But okay.
Okay. This is a huge red flag for me.
All right. You know what's so crazy? I was gonna say men. I was gonna say men.
No, like, I mean, strike one. You're a man.
Yeah.
And you're heterosexual.
Yeah.
Sorry, these sound bites is killing me. Child, it's always some wenches like this who will chase after men who want every set of ovaries besides theirs. Let me just start there. Now, Doechii. First of all, before I even drag Doechii, to my audience, I want you to understand what an industry plant is. And I'm going to go into, in her defense, there's some argument to be made that she's not quite an industry plant. But when it comes to and I'm not against industry plants, mind you. An industry plant means pretty much the music or the entertainment industry comes together and they decide you are the next person. You are the next person we're going to shove in everybody's face. But the thing is, I am fine when the industry plant actually has talent because that's just marketing. And I'm very pro marketing. I market every day. When it comes to when it comes to the entertainment industry, what's annoying is when you have an industry plant, what comes along with that, especially if you end up in a 360 deal, which I don't think she's in, but a lot of these artists have been, is they force you to fight for all these woke causes. Okay, just a couple examples of some industry plants. Like you could argue Lady Gaga was an industry plant because the way she started on the scene, the biggest pop star in the world out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere. And I'm not saying there wasn't years of work leading up to that because there clearly was. But once Lady Gaga was here, she was everywhere. And while she was everywhere, they made sure every headline was about her. And they made sure every time she went somewhere, she talked about something woke and gay. Every single time this woman stepped out the house, she had to talk about somebody gay or trans. It was her whole just like existence was about that. Always talking about woke causes, crying about something every day. Then you got Chappell Roan. Chappell Roan, again, another talented new girl. She's a new artist that we're going to be seeing every single day pretty soon. Chappell Roan, you could argue, is a bit of an industry plant. And that being said, every time she does an interview now, she has to say something about trans visibility as if we don't see trans people everywhere we look. Cardi B, another industry plant, somebody whose entire career was built to go against Nicki Minaj. She's out there campaigning for Joe Biden, even though the woman can barely speak, write, or read, let alone write a rap. Cardi B can't even write a rap, but she can go online and talk about how much she loves woke causes. So these industry plants, they are forced to talk about these kind of things. And what's frustrating about Doechii is, again, super smart. She has the look, she has the talent, she needs to work. She's got the creative vision to be original. She just keeps cosplaying everybody else. But what's annoying is I've been following her career for some years now. Oh, yes. And I've seen some interviews that she has done, and she's had some pretty based interviews. She's had some interviews where she's very straightforward, very mindset oriented, very hardworking. If you're very hardworking, I view you as just inherently leaning a little conservative because that's just a conservative value at this point. Liberal people, none of them want to work these days. Okay, so except LeBron James, but not his son. But I need to stop whacking the people. But Doechii, what are you talking about? You're up there talking about how your biggest fear is, or your biggest red flag is a heterosexual man. Then stop going for them. Stop chasing after them. And imagine if somebody from any other demographic said that. Imagine if a straight man goes on Hot Ones, they say, what is your biggest red flag? And they say, a lesbian. The world would end. The world would end if you dare say something bad about a lesbian, okay? Or if he went, like, I just can't with this anymore. I can't with the pandering. And then the girl sitting across from her being like, oh my gosh, I was gonna say men. If your biggest red flag is men, then go be a lesbian. You can be a lesbian. You don't have to go for straight men if that's the case, okay? And then the part that really irritates me about Doechii, let me come up with the receipts. Hold on. The song that she is pushing all over right now, she performed it at the Grammys. Great performance, by the way. But this wench performed it at the Grammys called Denial is a River. Let me read you these lyrics. I'm going to try to censor it, yeah. She says, remember old dude from 2019, nice clean ninja, did me dirtier than laundry, took a scroll through his IG just to get a DM from his wifey, WTF. I was so confused. What should Doechii do? She didn't know about me and I didn't know about Sue. I opened up the messages, then had to hit the Zoom. Turns out the girl was really a dude. You were wronged by a bisexual man. And then she goes on in the same song to talk about how this same dude went and destroyed everything that she owns. And then she crashed out and became a partyholic, drug addict, alcoholic, allegedly, well, according to her own song. So You were wronged by a bisexual man, but you want to say that your biggest red flag was a heterosexual man. But really, you should have been afraid of the sassy bisexual man that was cheating on you with another man and was risking you having the... I'm out of control because you know what I was going to say, and I'm still going to say it. You sleeping with this bisexual man had you at a higher risk of having burning piss and HIV. Let's be honest. So you, Doechii, be so for real. In your own song, you talk about how this bisexual man wronged you. So much so that now one of your biggest hits is about being wronged by a bi man, but you want to hate on heterosexual men just because that's going to get you the applause from the woke crowd. Okay, read the room, Doechii. Everybody is over it. Everybody is over the woke pandering. Everybody is tired of seeing white people constantly attacked, heterosexuals being constantly attacked. Not everything needs to be ethnic and gay anymore. Please calm down, Doechii. Okay? It's over. That era is over. And when it comes to this industry plant allegation, it's like, I feel like you're saying this because you know this is what your team wants from you. Okay, I've been telling people for about a year that Doechii was going to be everywhere soon, not just because of her talent, largely because of her talent, but because you can't tell me Billie Eilish and SZA both decide to post you on the same day. Some other big pop star, I think, did on the same day, saying almost verbatim the same thing about how much they love Doechii. Then all of a sudden, she's Billboard's Woman of the Year. Most people didn't even know who you were until the Grammys, but you're Billboard's Woman of the Year over all these women who had insane years, over Sabrina Carpenter, Billie Eilish, Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, who shattered so many records in the rap world, let alone female rap. All of these accolades are going to you, including Grammy Rap Album of the Year. Again, great album. Not saying she didn't deserve it, but kind of crazy that she got it over Pink Friday 2 by Nicki Minaj, which again broke all these records. You're getting all this acclaim, all this press. You're everywhere. You're at the Oscars, at the Grammys, all up in our face. And now you're telling us that your biggest red flag is straight men. Girl, please, who's paying you, grifter? Bruh. Everybody wants to ask me who's paying me because I get up here and I talk about conservative values. I just have common sense. But girl, your common sense is clearly not working. If you're sitting here talking about how straight men are wronging you, but that's what you keep going for after a bi man literally destroyed your entire home, allegedly. It was cheating on you, making you look like Boo-Boo the Fool. But again, I'll end this by giving her flowers because I really don't dislike Doechii. I think she's really talented. I think her album was great. And, you know, I even have like a little list of her career. 2015, started making music, went viral in 2020 at a festival, performed at the BET Awards in 2021, opened for SZA, shout out to SZA, in 2021, signed to Capitol Records in 2022, XXL Freshman Class issue 2022, released a couple viral songs, Doja Cat and Beyonce opened up for them in 2023, and then had another big hit 2 years ago, big album, or an album that just got a Grammy this year, she released last year. So again, I'm going to try to give you your flowers because I do respect Doechii, and I want Doechii to be better. I don't want Doechii to fall into the trap of these woke, pandering industry plants that end up being clowns like Cardi B with a botched face because you're trying so hard to pander. I don't want that from you, Doechii. I want better from you. The world is so close to healing. Don't bring any more clowns into the entertainment industry. We just saw the BLM signs get scraped on up off the floor. Okay? I don't want to see your career on the floor. Don't end up like Cardi B and Lotto. Okay? Be better than that, Doechii. I'm rooting for you. Don't do too much. Let's move along. So I want to run through this situation really quick. Y'all know Halle Bailey. She is a very talented actress. She started in the girl group Chloe and Halle with her talented sister Chloe. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Halle. She also broke a lot of headlines when she was Ariel up in The Little Mermaid. She was the Lil Mermaid, as I like to say, which I'm a grown man. I didn't care about this whole scandal. Everybody was so all up in my face wanting me to talk about this situation, about a black woman being the mermaid. Who cares? I'm sorry. Some of y'all are going to hate on me for that. I get it. They're always black in the redhead, which if you don't know what that means, they take the redheaded character and make it a black person for inclusivity. I don't care. But when it comes to Halle, we are all up in her business today because DDG is her baby daddy. And they are having some real baby daddy drama, making Chloe the first ever the first ever Disney princess to have baby daddy drama be as publicly as it is. And DDG, who could have seen it coming? So I want to first of all say the importance of this conversation. The importance of this conversation has to do with the nuclear family. When we talk about the importance of getting married, settling down, doing the logical first steps before you go and knock somebody up. I get it. Accidents happen, but figure that out. Figure that out before you start being sloppy. I don't understand how people always ended up with these kids all over the world when it is not that hard to, it takes effort, but track your cycles. Figure out what you got to do. Wear a wrap. Do what you got to do to stop ending up with all these kids. Now, DDG has claimed that Halle Bailey is not letting her or letting him. Sorry, DDG is claiming that Halle is not letting him see his son. Here's a clip.
And she got this golden image that I've also protected. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to keep doing that because I'm a real nigga. But this is foul, bro. Like, if I want to come get my son, I should be able to get my son. Plain and simple. The shit that's said to me is so, if niggas heard it, it's on some leave us alone type. No nigga in the world can tell me that I'm a deadbeat or a bad dad. No nigga in the world can ever say that to me. If my son can talk, he'll tell you my pops is the realest nigga ever. This nigga with me. I wish I can be around him more. I don't get the chance.
And I believe
to,
it too.
Like, I have never took my son out of the state before. Never been able to. I don't have permission. It's like I have a fucking second mom. Like, I gotta ask my second mom, hey, can I take my son? Can I take our son somewhere? But if she want to get up and leave the country and leave the state, I get no say so whatsoever. I can't say one word because she tell me that she the primary parent. Like, it's like, bro, this not cool, bro.
A lot to say about this. First of all, welcome to co-parenting. That is literally how it works. Y'all know I've been in 1,000 industries. I worked in family law for a couple of years. I know how a little bit of that works. I'm not going to bore you with the legalities of it, but you can't just leave the state with your son if you are not the primary parent. And really, if you're the primary parent, depending on the agreement you have, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't without getting that permission. But this whole rant started because it's funny because he started the rant saying that he hasn't seen his kid in months. And then in the next breath says that he tried to see his kid yesterday. And he went to see his kid for a short visit, and both Halle and the baby were sick. And she asked him to leave because they were sick. She wasn't trying to have this man all up in her face all day, which is fair. Now, I have mixed feelings on this. DDG doesn't seem like a bad guy to me. I want to say that first. And I've actually met him. I met him at a Halloween party a few months ago, and he was really cool, really polite, nice guy. But he needs to understand that this is how co-parenting works. And this is the situation you end up in when you go and you have a baby with somebody that you don't see a future with. You can't just show up to their house. Just because your kid lives there doesn't mean that you legally can just show up and grab your kid whenever you want. Even if you don't have a formal court order, you can't just do that. Okay? You can't just go and be like, I want my baby today, and think that you're just going to get your baby today. That's not how it works. You have to go to court and get a actual situation figured out. And he's saying that he doesn't want to have to get the court involved, but how is getting the court a public opinion any smarter? Because now you're just making the situation messy. You're making the situation really messy unnecessarily. And what I respect about him is that he's not a deadbeat dad. He did say that because more often than not, when it comes to these rappers and it comes to these different baby daddies, they don't want anything to do with their kids and they pretend like they do. But it does seem like he genuinely wants to see his kid. So I do empathize with him on that level. And I do respect that he wants to see his kid. But going and making a song saying, don't take my son from me, you are just out of control. You are completely out of bounds because this really shouldn't be our business, but you're a hot topic because you've made it our business. You have constantly been all over the internet making Halle look crazy. And I'm not saying Halle is innocent in this situation either, because I don't know their full story. I don't know if Halle is making it more difficult for him to see his son. But again, you wouldn't be in this situation if you weren't out here getting a baby mama. Okay? And you really put yourself in this situation because allegedly, and especially because DDG is messy. DDG has a Twitter group chat where he talks all reckless all about reckless things and lets people drag his baby mama. He's on there basically talking about how he cheated on her, allegedly. And allegedly, he cheated on her when she was pregnant. He cheated on her before she was pregnant. He cheated on her when she had the baby, and she cheated on, like, it's just, he's always cheating. He's always got some Tatiana with him. And then he will get on the internet and get mad anytime Hallie is even photographed with another man. She has this co-worker, this actor, this white man that he is, DDG is always letting us know, don't bring up this white man to me, but he's always the one bringing up this white man that Hallie is out being photographed with, and they were together. They're not even together like that, and you're all up in her business, all up in her cookbook, when you need to be minding your business, and you need to apologize for all the times that you allegedly cheated on her. And according to your group text messages, it looks like you are bragging about cheating on her with all these Tatianas. Okay? That is your fault. That is out of pocket. He's always embarrassing Hallie, and this publicity is not going to make you look any better in the courtroom when you finally do go and get a court order so that you can see your son more often. You publicly attack everybody around her. And the bad part is, Hallie, girl, Hallie, we warned you about this hood rat. And now you are the first Disney princess with baby daddy drama. You got so mad at us on Twitter when we told you this is bad news. And DDG, again, I don't think DDG is a bad guy. Again, I met the guy in person. He's well-spoken, he's talented, and he genuinely wants to see his father. So I will give him his 10s there. But you put yourself in a situation where you were going and sleeping around with everybody, and now you lost your baby mama to some other man, and now you are mad that you can't see your son because you don't want to go to the court. Bruh. Twitter is not going to help you get custody. You need to learn that right now. And that's all I got to say about that. Make sure you come back on Thursday where we are all up in people's business once again. And be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Love all the support you guys are giving the show. We are growing really quickly. Be sure to check out one of our vault interviews I've been waiting for you guys to see with Tom McDonald. You guys are loving that interview as well. So many more good interviews coming up that we have in the pipeline. I love you guys. Shout out to my cousins. I will see you soon.